Audio Jungle.
Alright guys, so welcome back to Mighty Lawns Network. Your host DK here. Today's episode we're going to show you some different clips that we found to be very informative. The first clip, we want to show all our gardeners out there the proper way to take care of your garden and pull up those weeds. And also we have some recall information for a Stihl blower that I think that you guys would find very helpful. That clip is a few years old, but we wanted to still put it out there just in case you guys still have that blower and you're using it even for, if it's just for your lawn care customers or if you use it for your personal residential property. So let's get right into it, and remember below, like and subscribe.
Are you ready to get your garden growing? Joining us this morning on the weather patio where it's beautiful is Jan Ornston from the American Lawn Corporation with some great tips on how to get rid of those weeds and get the flowers in and beautiful. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
It's a beautiful day to be gardening. We can hear the birds chirping and
the sun shining.
Yeah, and Lee was saying he didn't know the difference between the weeds and the flowers, and at least I can tell the difference. The weeds are ugly.
We have a little more color in this basket,
yeah.
But the weeds, we have some that fall from the seeds from your trees, like your maple trees.
Right.
And I just happened to pull out a few weeds and plant them in my own little TV2 garden bed.
Yeah,
and
perfect.
What I would like to demonstrate is the use of a garden hoop.
I've never heard of this.
This is a gardener's best friend.
Okay.
This is so easy. If you suffer from back aches, knee aches, maybe you want to go out and get yourself a hoop, because this will take 5 minutes of going through your garden beds, and it actually will slice your weed. It doesn't pull it from the root.
Okay.
But the sun will then dry it out. This should be sliced too, but
will it
because I
even get the
pulled it out,
dandelions though?
It'll get every weed in your garden bed.
Okay.
And it's freshens your dirt as well.
Okay.
And within about 24 hours, these are all dried up.
And you can just pull them off and throw them out.
You can pull them off if you want to, or
just let them
rake
compost
it will
naturally?
Compost. It'll dry up,
Okay.
and a nice windy day like this will kind of blow the dried up part away.
All right, that sounds good.
So,
okay.
And what I would normally suggest too, if you have mulch in your garden bed, take a rake and freshen up your mulch. You have nice, colorful red mulch underneath.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because it gets a little faded.
Or if you have the hardwood, it's nice and dark.
Now,
the sun will bleach it out.
One thing that's
months.
fabulous about mulch, it looks great, but when you first get it done, if you use the natural mulch, it stinks. So, do you recommend the cedar?
It's a matter of what you like. If you like the red mulch, if you have red brick on the house, a lot of my customers will have an installation of the red mulch. If you have a brown brick house, they like to go with the hardwood. Then of course there's the cedar mulch, which is very natural.
It smells so good. Okay.
It does smell good.
All right, let's go to the flowers now.
And the flowers, what I would suggest, I like to plant 3 or 4 flowers together for a burst of color. So what I would do is I will pull those weeds out. Just dig a hole and maybe put 3 flowers together in one hole, and you can see the difference where you have a nice burst of color here. You can take a few begonias and plant your begonias around.
Now, are these called, because I'm completely unqualified, are these annuals, perennials, or none of the above?
These are annuals, and they
okay.
grow during the summer season. Your first frost, they will die.
Okay.
Also, when you're planting, if you decide your begonia is maybe a little too high, which the colors, the height is okay, but you might want to just prune it a little. The bud will come back in about a week's time.
I was going to say, what have you done?
Yeah.
Okay, so it'll come back in about a week?
It'll come back in about a week's time. We have a dianthus.
Okay.
This is an annual also.
And these are really not expensive, right?
$10 a flat.
Oh yeah, and a flat is a lot.
In a flat, you usually get about 48 flowers in a flat.
Okay.
So dig your hole and plant for a burst of color. You can do 4, 5, 6 flowers at once.
Okay, and your best advice is to put those gloves on because we ladies don't want to ruin our. You
don't want
your nails done.
And plus, your skin will dry out from the dirt, crack and break. So always wear gloves. And I would like to also stress you want to water every day during our Michigan summers. We do have hot, humid weather. The sun will dry out your beds. So
what's the best time to water?
The best time is water early in the morning.
Okay.
And that way your plants are hydrated for the day.
All right, Jan, thanks so much for joining us. And you can get more information on.
Hi. I've heard many gardeners talk about how they love fall because it's the time of year when they get to quit pulling weeds out of their yard. And of course this is true. However, it's also a great time of year to start thinking about controlling weeds for next year. If we have biennial and perennial weeds in our yard, it's a great time to use chemical. After the first frost of the year, those plants are trying to take nutrients from their leaves and put them into the roots. If we get a little bit of chemical on at that time, it'll actually take the chemical down into their roots and kill the plant. Here we have a yard that's a new lawn, and we can see the annual weeds that of course we could just mow out, but we also have some perennial weeds here. So when using chemical, we want to make sure that we've mixed the spray correctly, calibrated the sprayer, and we're using the correct protective equipment that's on the label for that particular chemical. So remember, of course, fall is a good time to relax a little bit and not have so much work in the yard, but it's also a great time to start controlling weeds for next year. It's a chemical that'll actually stop the weed seed from germinating. I'm gonna fill my spreader here, and then we're gonna go out and we're gonna apply it in one of our perennial beds so that we don't get annual weeds starting this spring. So here in this small perennial bed, we have all the plants we want here, and we're not gonna grow anything from seed, and the seeds that are gonna germinate will probably be annual weeds. So I'm gonna put down a treatment of pre-emergent to stop any seeds from germinating. A weed eater is a great tool for gardeners to use in their yards. A weed eater allows us to get into places that we can't with our mowers. It helps us control weeds. We should remember when using the weed eater that safety comes first. We might want to have safety glasses on, earplugs, certainly pants and closed-toed shoes. When we use the weed eater, we want the head to be parallel to the ground. Use it flat. If we turn it sideways, we might weed it into the ground, destroying some roots, allowing some weeds to get in. The most important thing to think about when we're using a weed eater is around trees. With a young tree like this, we want to stay at least a foot away from that tree. If we hit that tree's bark, we're going to destroy some bark there. If we destroy that bark even a little bit, it's going to be a permanent damage where insects and disease might get into that tree. If we hit it enough times, we could damage that tree enough that it could possibly die. So we want to stay at least a foot around that tree. A much better system is to maybe hand clip around that tree, or even better, to make a mulch ring where we don't have plants growing up close to that tree. We want to make sure not to hit the tree with this power tool.
Do you have any of these recall products in your home? Stihl is recalling about 2.3 million yard power tools, including this backpack blower. It's a fire and burn hazard. Let me show you exactly where that hazard is. The fuel cap right here can become distorted and allow fuel to leak. That is a fire and burn hazard. It's not only this backpack blower that is being recalled, but also edgers, trimmers, brush cutters, and others. So you need to check our website, saferproducts.gov, to see if your model is included in the recall.
All right, guys, so what did you think about all these little clips we showed you? Was it helpful? If not, or if so, comment below, let us know. Share this information, spread it all over the web, spread it out to family members, friends. You want to be able to help one another out, especially when you're out here, especially with the, the weeds that we talked about. And for all you newbies out there, when you want to learn and, know how to use a weed eater the proper way, well, you want to be able to spread that information to everyone who would find it useful. Once again, your host DK here. Also, check out Lawn Code every Saturday at 7 p.m. We're right here at Mighty Lawns Network. Check us out every Monday at 9 o'clock. We'll see you next time on the network.
Audio Jungle.